Good evening. It is now 6 o'clock. I would like to call the Rockdale County Board of Education work session to order. Do I hear a motion to approve the agenda as presented?
So moved. Second, Akita.
The motion has been made to approve the agenda by Ms.
Janie Jones.
Jana Jones and second by Ms. Palmer. Any discussion? All in favor? Motion carries unanimously. Ms. Cindy Ball will now present certificates and awards. Dr. Oates, please join me in recognizing the outstanding accomplishments of our students and families. And Justin, come join me. Okay.
So we'll go to number 2. Yes, he was. Yeah. All right. Good evening, Chairwoman Brown, Superintendent Oates, board members, and our guests. We have a few recognitions here this evening, and our first student is Josiah Sedith, who is not here with us, but I do want to recognize that he is a state winner for the Young Georgia Authors competition for all of first grade in the whole state. So let's give him an applause. So our next group is from Davis Middle School. The River of Words project is designed to help youth explore the natural and cultural history of the place they live. After studying a watershed in their own environment, students express through poetry and art what they discover. In Georgia, poetry submissions are judged by the Georgia Center for the Book, and art entries are judged by artists and art enthusiasts from the Georgia Environmental Protection Division. The winning works will be posted on the River of Words website and also reproduced to become part of a traveling exhibit, which moves to libraries throughout the state. Another exhibit is also available for checkout to schools, nature centers, and other educational facilities. Tonight, we will recognize students from Davis Middle School who were selected as state winners in the Georgia River of Words Art and Essay Competition. And before we begin with our students, I just want to recognize our teachers who encourage our art students at Davis to submit these winning works of art. Barbara Mitchell Matthews and Katie King, we appreciate all that you do. And I will also point out that Ms. King was just awarded by Superintendent Woods the Georgia Department of Education Distinguished Service Award. So congratulations. She's going to kill me later. Okay, winning for 6th grade. And the artwork, if you look on your screen, you will see this is the Sea Butterfly. Our winning artist is Georgia Zan Bolin. For 7th grade, our winning artist, our next art on the screen, it's called Earth's Melody, Newell Harris. And our 8th grade winning artist, and this is a photography entry called Vibrant Plant Eater, Mason Reese. In the middle for a photo. Perfect. Congratulations. Our next group is the Salem Personal Finance Team. The Personal Finance Challenge lets students demonstrate their knowledge of personal finance literacy in an online competition with other high school students from across the state. For the state finals, students were given a scenario in which they identified problems and solutions using the information given and their knowledge of principles of economics, personal finance, and life. Students presented their response to the scenario and were scored by a team of judges. For the second year, Ms. Taylor Reed, a teacher at Salem High School, led a group of students to the state finals of the Personal Finance Challenge. Salem is the Georgia Council on Economic Education's first ever Access Zone winner. This has earned Team Eagles an automatic berth to the National Personal Finance Challenge on June 4th and 5th in Cleveland, Ohio. The Access Zone is a subdivision within the Personal Finance Challenge designed for regions and schools that do not normally participate. Congratulations and best of luck at nationals in the national competition to the following team members. First, Jermaine Johnson. Our next team member, Graham King. Angel Meja Giagos. And Victor Montoya. And our coach, Taylor Reed. If you all would just come to the center, we'll do a photo. Smiles, everyone smiles. We're going to nationals. Yeah. All right, congratulations and good luck.
Congratulations again. I know. That's fabulous. Good work. Good work.
How exciting.
Never get that. Congratulations. Good work. Proud of you. Proud of you.
Hey, and I'll get your cell number and I'll text you the pictures. What should we stand? Okay. Here, right there. Okay. Yeah. All right, ready? Oh, you have to email it to me. Yeah. All right, thanks for tracking back out here. Did you guys go?
Cindy.
Okay. Yeah, I was a hobby line. Dollar free, you know.
I want to say congratulations to you.
And then bring them to eat. Student next.
She is. I love it. Just keep it up. You did it already?
Right. Good. Yeah. All right. You get all?
Yes, sir.
That's good. Yeah. Okay. Great. That kind of goes, starts to the free. We're gonna.
We gonna be on that head, on Thursday.
I think you're right. That's awesome.
They're all.
Most people.
It is now 6:14. We are back in session. I would like to congratulate our students once again and families for their accomplishments. Do we have any visitors today? No visitors? There are no visitors who would like to address the board. The next item on the agenda is the superintendent's cabinet updates. Dr. Oates?
Yes, so we have Mr. Thomas Gray, who's taking the podium. He's going to share some important update information on one of our most important grants and also share an action.
Good evening, Chairwoman Brown, Superintendent Oates, board members, cabinet members, and guests. My name is Thomas Gray, and I have the honor of serving Rockdale County Public Schools as the Literacy Grant Coordinator for Literacy for Learning, Living, and Leading in Georgia, more commonly referred to as L4GA. Tonight, I'm going to remind you of the goals of the grant. It is a 5-year grant. We are in year 3 of 5. And then I will show you some photos of some of the things that we've been doing with our schools, with our teachers, and within our community this past year. And I do have an action item tonight. So goal number 1, and also I want to preface this with when the district applied for the L4GA grant, it was before the pandemic hit. So we did have goals that were established, and then the pandemic hit, we were awarded the grant, and we had to pivot a little bit. So goals 2 and 3 have been modified to reflect the pandemic learning, but goal 1 is the same as it always was. Goal 1 is to increase the percent of students reading at or above grade level in grades 3 through 8 and 11 as measured on the ELA milestone by 5% by the end of the grant. Again, we're in year 3 of 5, so we have 2 more years to reach that goal still. Goal number 2, improve teacher content knowledge, pedagogy, and evidence-based literacy practices to support face-to-face, hybrid, and virtual learning models. Goal 3, provide families and the community with extended opportunities to engage with literacy and supportive strategies to support face-to-face, hybrid, and virtual learning models. So the next few slides are photos of events that have happened in the community and things that we are implementing within our schools that support our goals in the hopes that we will surpass that 5% before the 5-year mark. So one of the ways that we support our students is with math by the book. This year, our math department did come to us and ask if we could purchase a supplemental resource for them that they could use this year and with the new math standards beginning next year that incorporates literacy and numeracy. And as you can see, there are little picture books next to each of those grade level books. We have already discussed purchasing a set of those picture books for each of the schools that they can incorporate that along with this resource starting next year. Some of our schools, CJ Higgs specifically, and a couple other schools decided to use some of their funding for Share the Magic Foundation. This is a foundation that is owned and operated by Malcolm Mitchell, who was the keynote speaker at our Leadership Summit in June of 2022. He is an author, he is a former athlete, and what he does is he goes into the schools and they purchase a book for each of the students, and he goes in and has an author talk with them, reads the book, they have some engaging activities and offer some strategies. And these are photos of the event at CJ Hicks. And as you can see, they're already engaged in the bottom left, in that left picture where they're reading the story with him. And then these are other photos from the same event where he has his team working with them also, and all the students are highly engaged with the book and the material that they have given to them. Another way that we support our students is by working with our teachers. L4GA has funded through some of our schools because they've opted to use their portion of their funds to employ another reading specialist or a reading recovery teacher. So these are photos of reading recovery teachers in their classroom. As you can also see, the middle picture is behind the glass in the observation lab over at CJ Hicks. So we feel that personnel and human resources is an extremely important resource that we could help support the literacy grant and have that. And the schools chose on their own to add the extra reading recovery teacher in their building. So for the life of the grant, we will continue to support those roles so that we know that those positions will always be there. And these are additional photos of behind the glass with another reading recovery teacher. This year, we are funding, I believe, 4 reading recovery teachers throughout the district, in addition to the 11 that we already had. And then one more reading recovery behind the glass. And if you haven't been to behind the glass to see that, you're missing out on a lot, because let me tell you, I went and saw them this year and I was astounded at what I was seeing. And I'm excited to see what they're going to continue to do next year. We also support our staff members. One of the resources that we have in our district is Think Circa, which is a writing platform. It's a writing supplemental resource to help our teachers and our students improve writing and increase the literacy throughout all the content areas, not just ELA. But what we do with L4GA funding is we support the purchase of the licenses and the professional development of Think Circa. But we also, in these photos, are showing where we have given funds for subs to go into classrooms so that teachers can get additional training on how to properly score the assessments and the mock writing assessments. And this one right here in the right-hand photo, it says it's one of the GMAS mock writing assessments that they gave to the students. So this is what they are doing. They're being pulled out, yes, away from their students, but they're getting that professional development so that they are having calibration protocol happening. They're making sure that they are grading equally and fairly across from one teacher to the next. And they're also scoring some of each other's students so that we know that they're getting a good view of what the students can and cannot do, or where the assets are and how to use those assets to help the students continue to grow. And these are more photos from some of those events. And this is just grades 9 through 11. And in the left photo, you see Patrice Teeler, who is currently our secondary literacy coach. She leads those sessions for the calibration protocol to make sure that we are scoring fairly and equitable across the board. Another way that we support our staff members is with the endorsements and the pathways that we have for literacy. These images are from the guided literacy pathway, and L4GA actually buys some of the resources that they use in those pathways, and that's what they're doing in these photos. They are using the resources that L4GA funded. And in the next slide, you'll see more of the guided literacy pathway, or the guided reading pathway, but in the left, it's a behind the glass session again. So we're not only using behind the glass for reading recovery, but also for some of our other literacy initiatives in the district to make sure that we are getting good feedback for our teachers as they are learning along the way. Another way that we support our staff members is the Leadership Summit. Last year, L4GA was the funding source for our books for Malcolm Mitchell because we got a copy of his book last year, which is why some of the schools wanted to bring him in this year with his second book. But we are also funding the I'm Just a Kid with an IEP text that we will be using this year at the Leadership Summit. And I know that Jordan Toma will be our keynote speaker for that event. We also support our community, which is a very important part of the L4GA grant. L4GA is to help our students, not just our students, but it's for birth through grade 12. So Shauna Miller, who is the director of early learning, has a pot of funding also through L4GA that she does amazing work with. And she goes to the hospital. She sets up literacy pop-up. She does transition bags. She does a lot of things with her funding. She has tutors that go into the pre-K classrooms and actually do one-on-one tutoring with students 3 to 4 times a week. She goes into the daycare centers with her funding as well to make sure that we are assessing those students before they come to us in Rockdale County schools. But this is from an event that we attended for the second year in a row at the International Horse Park. It's a literacy pop-up event that we collaborate with Phoenix Pass on this event. They let us come in and we are able to distribute literacy resources that parents and families can use in the home. As you can see, these are photos of our literacy team members passing them out to community members and to families and to children. But another important part of this literacy pop-up for me is that not only are we helping the community and the families there, we have a collaboration with Phoenix Pass itself, the organization. And what we do is, in addition to giving them those bags or giving those bags out at the event, we give bags and resources to the families of the Phoenix Pass housing. And these are images of some of the items that we gave this year. And some of them are, you are your child's first teacher. Things that you can do with your child in the home, whether they're in school or not. We also gave them social emotional learning books. I feel, I speak up, I help, I calm down, I share. We give them board books so that they can help their youngest children learn how to read before they get to us, or help them with reading because some of them are reading before they get to us already. So I feel this is a very important partnership that we created last year with them and that we continue to have with them. And that is one of the requirements of the grant, that we are active in the community with literacy. So the next item I have is the action item for Think Circa for the renewal for grades 9 through 11. The superintendent will recommend the Rockdale County Board of Education approve the renewal of Think Circa writing licenses for students and professional development for teachers and administrators in grades 9 through 11, totaling $118,100. The renewal is contingent upon the approval of the contract by the superintendent and general counsel. Think Circa is designed to support schools and districts in increasing student achievement in reading and writing across disciplines through rigorous, differentiated content and instruction for English language arts, social studies, science, and math. The total financial impact for the licenses is $118,100, which would all come from L4GA funding. Any questions? Yes, sir. It is not. Everything that is L4GA funded is completely from that fund. It does not touch the general fund at all.
Thank you.
And we are in year 3 of 5 of that grant. So we still have it for 2 more years after this year.
What's the likelihood of the grant being renewed after?
They are in the process of seeing what the grant will look like or what it will morph into. It used to be Striving Readers before I was in charge of L4GA or managing that. So there will be something else. We just don't know what it will be yet. Okay. Anything else?
I most definitely love the use of the grant. The writing across the curriculums, the reading across the curriculums. I just think it's a great use of the grant and the support. And then also utilizing the money to bring in warm bodies. There's a lot of research that supports warm bodies,
Yes, ma'am.
grow children academically.
Yes, ma'am.
So thank you.
Thank you.
I don't have a question, but I want to make a comment. I did have an opportunity to do Beyond the Wall, Behind the Wall.
Yes, behind the
Great
glass.
program, and I'm glad to see that you're still doing that, because when I watched it and I saw the light of the kids as they were learning to read, it was amazing. So thank you.
Yes, ma'am. That reading recovery team has done an amazing job, and I can't say enough good things about them. And I'm excited to see what they're going to continue to do.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Gray.
Thank you.
Bill?
Good evening, Madam Chair Brown, board members, Superintendent Dr. Oates. We've been celebrating students' achievements tonight. We're excited about what they do, and I'm going to share just a few slides on some celebrations we just have had with our transportation people. Celebrating commitment and customer service and what they do for us. We have 30 and plus year service dinner for our drivers and transportation folks, and we had that a couple weeks ago. And we had 200 plus years of celebration that we experienced in that meeting. Donna Beam's our senior driver, and that's a slide of the side of her bus. And there's Donna and her husband and her new bus. She chooses the location we go out to eat and where we honor our members and a guest of their choice. And we went this year to Outback and celebrated some good food, but lots of good stories and telling stories and making stories up, I'm sure. But we had a good time celebrating there. And as Dwight was recognizing, he got everybody that was eating around us all into clapping and celebrating with us as we celebrate these folks and their good and timely service to our system. So what we do is anybody that's 30 plus years gets to go, and we fund this. We used to fund it primarily out of our Coke fund, but now we haven't been selling as many Cokes since COVID. But so we have our staff leadership team. We chip in, and this year Thomas Freightliner chipped in a small donation to help us with it. So it's a great time of just celebrating. So when they get to 40 years, the service logo that you just saw on the side of their bus, and then after when they pass that 40 mark. Donna and Beth Banks are both over 40 years of service. They get to have their choice of the first bus that comes off the assembly line into our transportation shop when we order new buses. So if we order buses every year, Donna would get a new bus every year, or Beth, depending on one's special ed and one's regular ed drivers. But we're thankful for their service. And then if you cross that big 50, we took Donna out a couple years ago and had a special dinner for her and for her family, all of her family. We paid for that and celebrated with plaques and pictures and just a good time. So celebrating. So I got some pictures of the rest of them here. You see Beth Banks and her 47 years of service, and her friend there with her, and Marcia McCart's got 35 years in serving Rockdale County. All these years that you see here are years that they've spent serving right here in our community. They haven't served somewhere else. And Sandra Digby, and Dee was lucky to be her guest that night and travel along with her. Terry could not join us, Terry Key, but she has 32 years of service. And then our dear fleet director, Dwayne Allen, 36 years, and says he's retiring in August. So unless we can talk him out of it, we're going to miss him and Tanya very, very much for all their years of service. But we're thankful for them and for the opportunity we had of celebrating their service to our community and to our kids. You know, Donna's driving greats for some of her kids as she transports into J.H. House and Rockdale and Conyers Middle School. Well, miracles still happen. Our school food service delivery truck that we ordered last June has finally arrived and is in service. And Ron is excited about that, and so is our school food service team and Mr. Blaine. We're glad we have it. That is our first gasoline-powered motor that we've bought in a big unit forever, but it's working very well. We're excited about it. Some of the delays, remember the storms we had last fall that went through South Georgia, that was part of the delay because the storm messed up where our box was being produced. And then we've been wrestling the last few weeks before they delivered it with the lift components that they could not get. It's still unbelievable the slow chain that we have in getting the supplies in. I checked on our 2 service trucks that you guys approved. I think it was in December, and they're about to hit the assembly line. And their encouragement news to us was, once they hit the assembly line, you'll get them pretty quickly. But that's, think how many months that has been since we've got that. Of course, the other option was, we'll sell you one off the lot, but you got to pay the MSRP price that they got for. We said no, thank you. But we got our truck. We're in business. I have a couple action items for you tonight that I'll bring to you. The first one is the filter contract for facilities. The superintendent will recommend that the Rockdale County Board of Education approve the selection of Filter Pro USA as the vendor of choice from quotes received for our filter replacement service. Filter Pro USA is the lowest quote provided March 17, 2023. This service contract is contingent upon the approval of the superintendent and the general counsel. This provides consistent scheduled HVAC filter product and labor service at the lower cost than we can do it. They are the company we've been using for the last contract period. Filter changes services provided at all of our school sites and support system sites, and they follow our designated scheduled changeouts. You see they use the Enviro XP8s and HP13s, but we're not limited to those particular filters. If we find something better, we can absolutely put those into service. The contract price is $92,878.40 per year. The next one I have is the CMR 1 and 2 media construction change orders. The superintendent will recommend that the Rockdale County Board of Education approve the Media Construction Inc. CMR 1 and 2 projects revised GMP credits and additional charges to close out these projects. The credits are 81,209 on Lorraine, 54,225 at Memorial, 109,156 plus at Salem High School, and 295,003 at Rockdale County High School. The final project credits and charges have been reviewed and approved by our facilities executive director, our project architect team, and media. The change order cost increases are due to product supply chain impacts, extended delivery times, unavailability of specified product due to production interruptions, product delivery interruptions, and high demand for specific materials, specifically roofing materials. The material impacts caused an extensive delay in completion of these projects from the June 2021 approval by you and the October 2021 GMP authorization dates. The CMR process did provide our team interaction and input to minimize the final fiscal impact, project timeline completions, and the quality of product product employed in these projects. The overall cost is $264,225, which will come out of East Blost 5. And that will close out these projects at these 4 schools. The last action item I have is for RCA additional welding booths, machines, and light kits. The superintendent will recommend that Rockdale County Board of Education approve the selection of Sidney Lee Welding Supply, Inc. That's a local company as the vendor of choice for the purchase of 8 welding machines for $38,049.44, and the selection of the Lincoln Electric Company as a vendor of choice for the purchase and installation of the 8 dual station WFC welding booths and light kits for $97,991. These selections are based on the lowest received quotes of these products received by our CTA Director, Dion Jonigan. The units will double the classroom capacity that we have in this career path and allow students who are on the waiting list to fulfill their desire to be involved with the welding instruction and training. This career path offers our students extensive opportunities in the workforce. There is a high demand and great pay for people who choose this vocation. Our facilities team will provide getting the additional power needed from into the building and over to the site of the installation of these welding booths. The impact will be $136,040.44, and that's scheduled to be out of East Blost 5. And that concludes my presentation and action items. Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you, Phil. Derek.
Good evening, Chairwoman Brown, Dr. Oates, board members. So tonight, I want to start off by talking about the Children's Internet Protection Act. We call it SIPA. And so it was enacted by Congress in 2000, and it's for school systems and libraries who receive funding or discounts for federal funding for E-rate. And so we receive about up to 80% funding from E-rate on our internet circuit, our WAN, which is our wide area network, that's the fiber from the schools to the district office, and other things such as switches, our firewalls, and wireless access points. There are 3 requirements for compliance, and the first one is to block access to content that is obscene or child pornography or harmful to minors, and so that's our internet filter. Our internet filter contract is ending this summer, and so we've been in the process of demoing the top products around and researching them. And so tonight I'll bring you an action item for that. The next one is provide internet safety education for children, including appropriate online behavior, cyberbullying, and social network safety. We have common sense media lessons. We provide those to students at the beginning of the year and throughout the year. Lastly is to implement an internet safety policy, board policy IFBG. The Internet Acceptable Use Policy is our policy for that. And so you see that we are in compliance for this. So tonight I'm bringing to you the internet filter action item. The superintendent recommends that the Rockdale Board of Education approve the annual purchase of an internet filter LineWise for $71,981.66. This is a 3-year contract with Trayborn Company, Inc. and Rockdale County Public Schools. The purchase is contingent upon the approval of the contract by the superintendent and general counsel. LineWise provides web filtering specifically designed for educational institutions. The cloud-based filtering system allows the district to manage and monitor online activity, ensuring the compliance with SIPA. The funding is from general fund. And that's all I have for tonight. Thank you.
Thanks, Derek. Keith.
Right. Good evening, Madam Chair Brown, Dr. Oates, members of the board. I'll be going over the preliminary financial statements for the month of April. All right. The revenue for April was 12.3 million. Our revenue year to date is 164.9 million, which is 91.1% of our budget. Last April, we received 15.8 million. Year to date last year was 162.6 million and 94.9% of our budget. Expenditures for April, 16.5 million, 155 million year to date, which is 84% of our budget. Last April was 18.3 million, 145.6 million year-to-date, which was 85% of our budget. Our outstanding encumbrances are $1,449,264. All right, our fund balance is 48.5 million approximately for April. Last April, we have 45.8 million approximately. 2 months left to go. I suspect we'll be around the $31 million mark when we hit fund balance at the end of the year. So that's a little bit lower than we were last year, but remember 3.5 million we were using out of fund balance. So just keep that in mind. Our assets 56.4 approximately. Liability 7.9 million. Those are all of our third party payments that hadn't cleared. You know, we're a little earlier this month, so that
Right.
number's a little higher than normal. And then our fund balance at 48.5.
Keith, this is a question that's come up before that I know that you and I have discussed with some of our citizens, but could you go back and just share briefly what the encumbrances figure is?
Okay, let me get back up to that number. The encumbrances are our outstanding POs that funds have been obligated. So at the end of April, we have $1.4 million obligated through the end of the period. That number will change, you know, if we clear POs and stuff like that, but those are obligated POs through June 30th.
Thank you.
At June 30th, that outstanding encumbrance will be 0.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you, Keith. Any superintendent update?
Thank you, Madam Chairwoman, and to our board members and our executive cabinet and our guests as well, to include some of our staff members who are here. Let me just start off as a point of personal privilege. I would ask that you keep Mr. Rupert Wiley in your prayers. He's our familiar face, longtime employee, SRO previously, and he's here often for our security, but he lost his grandson earlier today, who I believe was just 6 weeks old. So certainly, and he was his namesake as well. So certainly keep Mr. Wiley in your thoughts and prayers. Let me also just share to pivot something a little more upbeat, of course, is we're acknowledging and observing National Teachers Appreciation Week this week, bless you. And I know that you, like me, are very, very grateful, as is the case for everyone on this dais, grateful for the daily commitment and dedication that our teachers demonstrate in the classroom. You know, I've said this to our teachers at our invocation and at other gatherings, that the research is very clear that our teachers have the greatest impact on our students' achievement. And so I had the privilege earlier this week of sending out a video of thanks and commendations to all of our district's teachers. Also earlier this week, Principals Appreciation Day. And so certainly we had our monthly principals meeting today, and I was able to express my gratitude to our principals for their dedication and their leadership at their respective schools. That same research that I shared with you that says, by Robert Marzano, that says teachers have the biggest impact on students' achievement. It says second to only teachers, principals have a huge impact as well. And so we're very grateful because we have some very effective principals, and we're very excited. And part of that is we also have a strong pipeline as well through our leadership development program known as Real Academy, that has different leadership cohorts that are designed to prepare educators for different levels of leadership. So we have Aspire, which targets that entry level for teachers and counselors and others to the assistant principalship. And then we have Lead, which is to the principalship, but also other opportunities that may exist at the district level and support roles. And then we also have support through our leadership development, where we provide induction level support for new leaders, new assistant principals, new principals, and others. Also, I should share with you that tomorrow is School Nutrition Hero Day, where we take a moment to pause and acknowledge the great contributions of our school nutrition personnel from across the district. And we're very excited about that. You're going to see a lot of green and pink t-shirts tomorrow that are the colors that they chose to acknowledge School Nutrition Hero Day this week. And so certainly if you see a school nutrition worker, whether at your school or even our staff here at the central office, please thank them for their role in student success, because we know the relationship between good nutrition, and particularly now we're testing, and we make sure that we commit to providing students that breakfast without regard to any payment, that we make sure that we get that to them. And then I would say lastly that May is Mental Health Awareness Month. And I'm very, very proud of the fact that really Rockdale County Public Schools is an exemplar for providing and affording our staff and students a wide range of wellness supports in that area. And so certainly let's keep that in mind that we're acknowledging Mental Health Awareness Month this month. You know, I had the privilege of working many years ago with Alvin Wilbanks, who was the longtime superintendent of Gwinnett County Public Schools. He served in that capacity for a quarter century, 25 years. He hired me about 18, 19 years ago as a high school assistant principal there at Meadow Creek High School in Norcross, Georgia. And one of the sayings that he had is there are two types of people in the school system: teachers and those who support teachers. So two types of people: teachers and those who support teachers. And both sides of that coin are critically important to the success of a school district. So we have our teachers, and the research is clear. They have the greatest impact on students' learning, achievement, and growth. Second to that is leadership, because those leaders recruit and select and hire those teachers and hopefully provide induction support, professional learning, and disciplinary support to them. But it's also important for us to recognize and acknowledge the dedicated and committed work of those who are not in the classroom teaching, but who provide support to those teachers, whether it's curricular support, instructional support, professional learning support, operational support. If that air is not getting right, we have a talk to Phil, and he makes sure that our students and staff are comfortable in their learning. When there are issues on the nutrition side, all of those pieces. So I've conveyed this, and I'll do it again. I know that we have those here, but we have probably a larger audience who's viewing us remotely. As superintendent, and I can also say that I know this is the view of the Board of Education, we are committed to the success of our teachers and all of those who support them, both who are school-based and district-based. And so I wanted to convey that. So that's all I have to share at this time, Madam Chairwoman.
Thank you, Dr. Oates. The Cabinet has provided numerous presentations under information. I ask the board to please review that information. If you have any questions or even concerns, please contact Dr. Oates or myself. Please review the April 2023 board minutes and provide any edits to Ingrid. We will vote on the minutes at the regular session. There is no old business and there is no new business. The Cabinet has provided an overview of the action items for the board to vote on next week. And since we have 3 board members that are not here tonight, I want to ask that we vote to move the consent agenda request to the regular session, which is next week. So do I hear a motion to consider all action items under the new business discussion agenda at the regular session?
So moved, Akita Palmer.
Let me get a second, please.
Second, Justin Kinney.
A motion has been made by Akita Palmer, a second by Mr. Kinney, to consider the action items under the new business discussion on the regular session, which is next Thursday. All in favor? Motion carries unanimously. There is no board discussion tonight. So you all know what that means. Do I hear a motion to conclude the meeting? Is there a
So
second?
moved.
Second, Akita Palmer.
Okay, a motion to conclude the meeting has been made by Ms. Jones and second by Ms. Palmer. All in favor? Unanimously, the motion carries. The meeting is concluded tonight. Good evening, everyone.